Hello, welcome to another video on our channel. Here, we translate testimonies from people who have had near-death experiences and other spiritual experiences. Today, let's learn the story of Alowen Thorne. She says that she died, had an encounter with God where a secret that religion hides was revealed. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Leave a comment with your name and city. Let us now hear Alowen's testimony. Hello, my name is Alowen Thorne. I'm 42 years old and live in Asheville, North Carolina, a city that seems to mirror my own soul, serene, in harmony with nature, and full of life. I'm a single mother to a wonderful son named Ethan, who is 14 years old. He is the light of my life, and I always made sure he had a fulfilling childhood, surrounded by love and opportunities. Until a year ago, I led a pretty ordinary life. She worked as a physical education teacher at a local school, loved running trails in the Appalachian Mountains and participating in community events. My routine was balanced, full of happy moments with my son, our walks through local parks, and our quiet evenings watching movies and eating popcorn. If you had asked me about my faith at that time, I would have replied that I believed in God. But in a somewhat distant way, I thought life was made of choices and consequences, and that we were responsible for our own destiny. My spirituality was more about morality and good deeds than a deep connection with the divine. I never imagined my life could change so drastically. What I'm about to share with you is the story of how my existence was completely transformed by an experience that transcended everything I thought I knew about God, life, and death. It's a journey that has shown me the true essence of love and acceptance in a way I never could have imagined. I confess that it is still difficult for me to find the right words to describe what I experienced. How can I explain something that defies all logic and human understanding? But I feel it is my duty to share this story, in the hope that it can bring comfort, hope, and a new understanding of what it truly means to live. So here I am, ready to tell my story. A story that begins with pain and fear, but ends with a profound understanding of unconditional love and the interconnectedness of all things. It's a journey that has taken me beyond the limits of life as we know it, and brought me back with a new perspective and renewed purpose. I ask that you listen with an open heart, setting aside for a moment any skepticism or prejudice. What I'm about to share may seem unbelievable, but I can assure you that every word is true, at least as far as my memory and ability to express myself allow. Get ready for a journey that challenges the limits of what we think we know about life and death. This is the story of my near-death experience, and how it completely changed my understanding of the universe and my place in it. It all begins on a seemingly ordinary autumn night. The air is crisp, the leaves on the trees are beginning to change color, painting the Asheville landscape with shades of red and gold. I'm at home, preparing dinner for Ethan and I, when I suddenly feel a sharp pain in my abdomen. At first, I don't care much. I think it's just a temporary indisposition. Maybe something I ate didn't go down well. I take a painkiller, do some stretches, waiting for the pain to go away, but it persists, and as the hours pass, it begins to intensify. In the days that follow, the pain not only continues but begins to radiate throughout my body. Every movement becomes a torment. Simple daily tasks, like getting out of bed or preparing breakfast for Ethan, become almost impossible challenges. I make several visits to the local hospital. The doctors examine me, run tests, but they seem as confused as I am. I'm given medication and sent home with inconclusive diagnoses: urinary tract infection, kidney stones, irritable bowel syndrome. The possibilities are many, but none seem to fit my symptoms perfectly. The pain continues, and my condition worsens alarmingly. I wake up one morning and can barely breathe. My body feels swollen and heavy, like I'm being suffocated from the inside. Panic starts to take over me. What's happening to me? Ethan, my dear son, realizes that something is very wrong. I see the fear in his eyes, mixed with a determination beyond his years. He calls an ambulance, and within minutes, I'm being rushed to the hospital. In the emergency room, I am immediately seen by Dr. Samuel Whitaker, an experienced doctor who already knows me from previous visits. He examines my tests with a serious expression and suggests that I be transferred to a larger hospital where they can perform more detailed tests. The journey to the larger hospital is a blur of sirens and flashing lights. The pain is almost unbearable now, and I feel like I'm losing consciousness. Ethan holds my hand the entire ride, his eyes full of tears, but his steady voice reassuring me that everything will be okay. Upon arriving at the new hospital, I'm immediately taken for a series of tests. CT scans, MRIs, blood tests. It feels like every inch of my body is being scanned and analyzed. Finally, after what seems like an eternity, the doctor enters my room. His face is serious, and I know immediately that the news is not good. He explains that they discovered a serious condition in my colon, which caused kidney failure. My body is accumulating fluids at a frightening rate, and my kidneys have simply stopped working. The doctor's words seem to come from far away. Kidney failure. How is this possible? I've always been healthy. I've always taken care of my body. How could I have gotten to this point without realizing it? The doctor continues talking, explaining the treatment I will need to undergo, but his voice becomes increasingly distant. I feel a darkness approaching, wrapping around me like a heavy blanket. The last thing I see before I lose consciousness is Ethan's frightened face, his silent tears falling as he holds my hand. And so, without knowing it, I am about to embark on the most extraordinary journey of my life. A journey that will take me beyond the limits of what I believed possible and bring me back with a completely new understanding of what it means to be alive. The world around me begins to fade. The voices of the doctors and nurses become a distant murmur, punctuated by the irregular sound of the heart monitor. The pain that has tormented me for weeks seems to be dissipating, replaced by a feeling of lightness that I can't explain. Suddenly, I have the strange sensation of rising. It's like I'm floating above my own body. I look down and see myself lying in the hospital bed, pale and still. Doctors are all around me, working frantically. I see Dr. Whitaker barking orders, his hands pressing on my chest in a desperate attempt at resuscitation. Ethan stands in the corner of the room, holding the nurse's hand tightly, his face a mask of terror and disbelief. I want to reach him, tell him that I'm okay, that he doesn't need to be afraid, but I can't. It's as if there is an invisible barrier preventing me from communicating with the physical world. The scene below me seems increasingly distant, as if I'm being pulled away. The hospital room, the doctors, my own body, it all starts to seem so irrelevant, so small compared to what I'm feeling right now. It is at this moment that I realize that something extraordinary is happening to me, something that goes beyond any scientific or medical explanation. I stand on the threshold between life and death, and I am about to embark on a journey that will forever change my understanding of existence. As I float higher and higher, I feel enveloped in a warm, welcoming light. It is not a blinding or uncomfortable light, but rather soft and inviting. It's as if he's calling me, gently drawing me towards him. As I move closer to the light, I feel a deep peace wash over me. All the fears, all the worries that tormented me moments before seem to dissolve. The physical pain that brought me to this point disappears completely, replaced by a sense of well-being I've never experienced before. I look one last time at the hospital room below me. I see the doctors still fighting to bring me back. I see Ethan's anguished face, and I feel a pang of sadness. But at the same time, I know that what I'm about to experience is something beyond ordinary human understanding. I turn to the light and surrender to it completely. It's like diving into an ocean of pure, unconditional love. I feel embraced, welcomed, accepted in a way I have never experienced before. All the barriers, all the judgments, all the limitations that I imposed on myself and others simply disappear. As I move forward through the light, I feel like I'm traveling at incredible speed, but at the same time, I'm perfectly still. It's a contradiction that my human mind can't fully comprehend, but that somehow makes sense in this new state of being. As I travel through this light, I begin to see glimpses of something beyond. Shapes and colors that have no equivalent in the physical world begin to materialize. I feel the presence of other entities around me, although I cannot see them clearly yet. And then, as suddenly as it began, the journey ends. I find myself in a place that defies all earthly description. It's as if I've arrived in a realm beyond time and space, a place where the laws of physics I know simply don't apply. I'm about to take the next step on this incredible journey, a journey that will lead me to an encounter with the divine and show me truths I never imagined possible. It is here, on this threshold between worlds, that my true transformation is about to begin. Stepping through the light, I find myself in a place I can only describe as heavenly. It's like a park, but unlike anything I've ever seen on Earth. The colors are more vibrant, more vivid than anything I've ever tried. The green of the trees is so rich and deep that it seems to pulsate with a life of its own. Flowers display colors that have no name in our earthly language, emanating a beauty that transcends human understanding. The air around me is permeated with peace. It is not just the absence of noise or conflict, but an active, palpable peace that seems to encompass every particle of my being. I take a deep breath and feel as if I am breathing in pure love and serenity. The birds sing melodies that touch my soul in a way I have never experienced before. Each note seems to contain entire universes of emotion and meaning. It's as if the music itself is a living being, dancing around me and through me. As I take in the beauty of this place, I notice a figure walking towards me. She is a serene-looking woman, with a smile that radiates pure love. There's something familiar about her, like I know her from somewhere, even though I'm sure I've never seen her before. As she approaches, I feel a wave of warmth and acceptance wash over me. His gaze is deep and compassionate, as if he could see through all the layers of my being and love me unconditionally. "Welcome, Elowen," she says, her voice melodious and comforting. Before I can respond, she wraps me in a hug. The moment your arms wrap around me, I feel like all the love in the universe is hugging me. Any remaining fear or doubt I might have had completely dissolved. When we part, I look at her with a mixture of reverence and curiosity. "Who are you?" I ask, even though somehow I already know the answer. She smiles gently. "I'm Sarah Hawthorne," he replies, "and I'm here to help you understand what's going on." The name means nothing to me, but I feel a deep connection to Sarah, as if we've known each other for eons. "Where am I?" I ask, looking around in wonder. Sarah makes a sweeping gesture. "You are in a place beyond time and space as you know them. Some may call it heaven, others the spiritual plane. The names are irrelevant. What matters is that you are here to learn and grow." As I absorb his words, I feel a wave of emotions wash over me. Joy, peace, curiosity, and a hint of apprehension mix in my being. "Learn and grow," I repeat, my voice full of admiration. "But did I die?" Sarah smiles again, her face beaming with understanding. "No, Elowen. You are in what many would call a near-death experience. Your physical body is still alive, but your consciousness has temporarily transcended the limitations of the earth plane." I nod slowly, trying to process this information. It's hard to reconcile the peace I feel here with the idea that my body is still fighting in a hospital bed. "And now?" I ask, unsure of what to expect. Sarah reaches out to me. "Now, let us go on a journey of discovery. There is much for you to see and understand." I take his hand without hesitation, feeling a wave of confidence and anticipation wash over me. As we walk together through the celestial realm, I have the feeling that I'm about to embark on the most extraordinary adventure of my existence. Sarah gently leads me down a path that seems to be made of pure light. As we move forward, the scenery around us changes subtly. The trees and flowers give way to an open space that seems to stretch infinitely in all directions. We arrived at a place that I can only describe as a temple of light. It is not a physical structure as we know it on Earth, but a space of pure energy and consciousness. As we enter, I realize we are not alone. Other entities are gathered here, each radiating a wisdom and love that leaves me in a state of awe. It's time for us to review your life, Sarah says softly. Don't worry, we're here to guide you. Before I can ask what this means, the space around us transforms. Suddenly, I'm immersed in scenes from my own life. It's like watching a 360-degree movie, but with one crucial difference. I can feel all the emotions associated with each moment. The review begins with my earliest childhood memories. I see myself as a small child, taking my first steps, laughing in my parents' arms. I feel the pure, unconditional love they had for me, and it fills me with deep gratitude. As the scenes progress, I relive significant moments in my life. I see myself at school, making friends, facing challenges. I feel the excitement of first love, the pain of first disappointment. Every moment is lived with an intensity I have never experienced before. But what surprises me most is that I'm not just reliving my own feelings. Somehow, I can feel the emotions of the people around me in every scene. When I relive a moment when I was kind to a classmate who was being bullied, I feel not only my own satisfaction, but also that child's relief and deep gratitude. Likewise, when I relive moments when I was selfish or impatient, I feel the pain I caused others. There is no judgment in this experience, just a deep understanding of the consequences of each of my actions. I watch Ethan's birth, feeling again that burst of unconditional love I experienced when I held him for the first time. I relive the challenges and joys of being a single mother, seeing how every decision I made shaped not only my life, but his as well. As the review progresses, I begin to see patterns in my life. I see how certain choices led to certain consequences, how small acts of kindness had far-reaching effects that I had never realized before. I also see the missed opportunities, the moments when fear stopped me from taking action, the times I let judgment cloud my compassion. But there is no shame or regret in these accomplishments, just a deep understanding and a desire to do better. Throughout this process, I feel the silent support of Sarah and the other entities present. There is no judgment in their eyes, just unconditional love and acceptance. When the review finally ends, I feel transformed. It's like I've gained a completely new perspective on my life and my place in the universe. I look at Sarah, my eyes filled with tears of gratitude and understanding. What happens now? I ask, my voice shaking with emotion. Sarah smiles gently. Now, Elowen, you are ready for the next step of your journey. There is someone very special who would like to speak with you. With these words, the Temple of Light begins to transform again, preparing for what promises to be the most profound moment of this extraordinary experience. The Temple of Light gently dissipates, giving way to a space that defies earthly description. It is as if we are floating in a sea of pure light, surrounded by colors that have no name in our human language. Sarah gently guides me through this ethereal space. I feel a growing anticipation, mixed with a deep reverence. Somehow I know I'm about to experience something that will fundamentally change my understanding of existence. Suddenly I feel a presence. It is not something I can see with my eyes or hear with my ears, but something I perceive with my entire being. It is a presence so vast, so complete, that it seems to fill the entire universe and, at the same time, be intimately present with me. Sarah moves away slightly, and I find myself facing this presence. It is not a male or female figure. It has no defined shape as we understand it on Earth. It's just being. A pure consciousness that emanates love in its purest and most unconditional form. I feel completely exposed in front of this presence, but there is no fear or shame. On the contrary, I feel completely accepted, loved beyond any measure I have ever experienced before. Then I hear, not with my ears, but with my soul, a voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Elowen, says the voice, and the sound of my name carries waves of love through me. You've always believed in a God who judges, haven't you? I nod mentally. remembering all the times I saw God as an authoritative figure, ready to punish sinners and reward the righteous. The presence continues. But what you see here is the true essence of God. Unconditional, non-judgmental, no-holds-barred love. All religions on earth are ways to understand this love, but none fully reflect it. As I absorb these words, I feel as if veils are being removed from my eyes. I see clearly how my limited understanding of God had colored my view of the world and myself. But what about sin? What about evil in the world? I ask. My human mind still struggling to reconcile this vision of unconditional love with the harsh realities of life on earth. Repentance responds with infinite gentleness. What you call sin or evil is simply the result of the separation of consciousness from universal love. It is not punished, but understood and healed through love. I am flooded with profound understanding. I see how all suffering, all pain, all action that we consider bad ultimately comes from a lack of connection with this universal love. So what is the purpose of life? I ask, feeling like a child facing the vastness of the cosmos. The purpose is to experience, learn, and grow. The presence responds. Each life, each experience Daur is an opportunity for consciousness to expand, for love to express itself in new ways. I am overcome with a feeling of peace that I have never experienced before. All my fears, all my insecurities dissolve in the face of this profound understanding. All that's left is love. Right now, I feel completely one with everything that exists. I see clearly how every being, every particle in the universe, is interconnected, all part of this great cosmic dance of love and consciousness. The presence begins to gently move away, but before leaving completely, it leaves me with one last message. Remember, Elowen, you are loved beyond measure. You have always been and always will be a part of this universal love. Take this truth back with you. As the presence dissipates, I feel filled with a peace and certainty that I have never known before. I look at Sarah, who smiles understandingly. You're ready for the next step of your journey, she says softly. And so, with a heart overflowing with love and understanding, I prepare myself for what comes next on this extraordinary journey beyond life. After the profound encounter with the Divine Presence, I feel completely transformed. It's as if every cell of my being is vibrating with a new frequency of love and understanding. The peace I feel is so deep, so complete, that the idea of leaving this place seems almost unbearable. Sarah remains at my side, her face beaming with understanding and compassion. She gently guides me into a new space, which seems to be made of pure golden light. Here, I feel enveloped by a welcoming warmth, as if I were being embraced by the universe itself. Elowen, Sarah says softly, you have experienced much on your journey thus far. Now the time has come for an important decision. I look at her, curious and a little apprehensive. What decision? Sarah smiles gently. The decision to return or stay. My heart skips a beat. Return. The idea of returning to the physical world, with all its pain and limitations, seems almost unbearable after what I've experienced here. How can I let go of this peace, this unconditional love? But do I have a choice? I ask, surprised. Sarah nods. Yes, Elowen. Free will is one of the greatest gifts in the universe. The choice is always yours. I remain silent for a moment, absorbing this information. Part of me desperately wants to stay. Here, I feel complete, at peace, united with everything that exists. The idea of returning to a limited body, to a world full of challenges and suffering, seems almost unbearable. But then, as if responding to my thoughts, an image appears before me. It's Ethan, my son. I see your face, your eyes full of tears, sitting next to my body in the hospital. I feel your pain, your desperate need to have your mother back. The vision hits me like a wave, reminding me of all the responsibilities and connections I still have in the physical world. It's not just Ethan, but all the students who depend on me, the friends and family who care about me. Sarah watches my reaction with a knowing look. You have more work to do on Earth, she says softly. Your child needs you, and the world needs to hear what you experienced. I feel tears forming in my eyes, not from sadness, but from deep understanding. I realize that although the peace I feel here is incredible, my journey on Earth is not yet complete. There are lessons to learn, love to share, growth to experience. But how can I go back? I ask, my voice shaking with emotion. How can I leave all this peace, this love, and go back to a world that often seems so cold and cruel? Sarah places her hand gently on my shoulder. Elowen, you will never truly let go of this love. It is part of who you are, part of everything that is. Your task now is to take some of this light back with you, to share it with the world. I nod slowly, feeling a new determination rise within me. I realize that returning is not a loss, but an opportunity, a chance to live with a new understanding, to be a beacon of love and understanding in a world that so desperately needs it. I'm ready, I say finally, my voice steady despite the tears in my eyes. Sarah smiles, her eyes shining with approval and love. You are brave, Elowen. Always remember what you experienced here. Let it guide your actions and decisions in life. She wraps me in one last hug, and I feel all the love in the universe flowing through her to me. As we separate, I see that the space around us is beginning to dissolve. It's time to go back, Sarah says softly. Take our love with you, Elowen. Never forget, you are loved beyond measure. With those words, I feel myself being pulled back. The golden light fades, and I begin my journey back to the physical world, my heart full of love, peace, and new purpose. The transition back into my physical body is an experience that defies description. It's like diving into an ocean of sensations, each one more intense than the last. The peace and lightness I felt in the spiritual realm is gradually replaced by a growing awareness of my physical body. First, I feel a crushing weight, as if every cell in my body is being pressed down by an invisible force. It's an uncomfortable, almost painful feeling after the freedom I've experienced outside of my body. Then I start to feel again, the rough feel of the hospital sheets against my skin, the cold air rushing into my lungs, the persistent, rhythmic sound of the heart monitor. Slowly, I become aware of the voices around me. They are murmurs at first, indistinct and distant, but little by little they become clearer. I recognize Dr. Whitaker's voice, his professional intonation barely masking the relief in his words. Her vital signs are stabilizing, he says. I think she's coming back. I hear a muffled sob that I immediately recognize as Ethan's. My heart sinks when I think of the fear and anguish he must have gone through. Finally, with what seems like a Herculean effort, I manage to open my eyes. The light is intense, almost painful after time spent in the soft glow of the spiritual realm. I blink several times trying to focus my vision. Dr. Whitaker's face comes into view, his eyes wide with surprise and relief. He's holding my hand, and I can feel the tremor in his fingers. Elowen, he whispers in disbelief, you're back. I try to speak, but my throat is dry and scratchy. Only a hoarse sound escapes my lips. Don't try to talk yet. Dr. Whitaker warns me gently. You've been through a lot. Rest. But there's something I need to say, something that can't wait. With immense effort, I force the words out. I never really left, I manage to mutter. I see the confusion in Dr. Whitaker's eyes, but before he can respond, Ethan approaches the bed. Her eyes are red and swollen from crying, but her face lights up with a smile when our eyes meet. Mom, he says, his voice cracking with emotion. He takes my other hand, squeezing it as if he's afraid I might disappear again. I look at my son and feel a wave of love wash over me. It's a different love than I've felt before, deeper, more complete. I see in him not just my son, but an expression of the universal love I have experienced on my journey. A nurse approaches, her eyes shining with curiosity. "Mrs. Thorne," she says softly, "you were, well, technically dead for a few minutes. Do you remember anything?" I close my eyes for a moment, remembering the light, the unconditional love, the divine presence. A smile forms on my lips. "I remember everything," I reply, my voice still weak but full of conviction. I see the looks exchanged between Dr. Whitaker and the nurse, a mix of fascination and skepticism on their faces. "But I don't care about your disbelief right now. I know what I experienced, and I know that my life will never be the same." As tiredness begins to overwhelm me again, I feel a deep peace envelop me. It is not the same transcendental peace that I experienced in the spiritual realm, but it is a peace born of the knowledge that no matter what, I am loved beyond measure. I close my eyes, allowing myself to rest. I know that when I wake up again, I will have a lot to process, a lot to share. But for now, I'm content in knowing that I'm back, transformed, and ready to live my life with new purpose and understanding. The days following my return are a mix of physical recovery and deep reflection. While my body struggles to heal, my mind is busy processing everything I have experienced during my journey beyond life. I spend hours lying in my hospital bed, reliving every moment of my experience. The sense of peace and unconditional love I felt in the spiritual realm still resonates within me, like a distant echo of heavenly music. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I can almost feel that deep connection with everything that exists again. The message I received during my experience is clear and continues to reverberate in my mind. Acceptance is synonymous with love, and that is what the divine, or God, truly wants from us. I realize now how all the barriers we've built on Earth, between religions, cultures, and people, are irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. This realization leads me to reflect on my life so far. I see clearly how I often judged others and myself, how I allowed fears and insecurities to limit my ability to love and accept unconditionally. I feel a mixture of regret and gratitude, regret for the moments lost, and gratitude for the opportunity to do things differently from now on. Ethan spends most of his time by my side, holding my hand and looking at me as if he's afraid I might disappear at any moment. I see in him a mixture of relief, love, and curiosity. He wants to know all about my experience, but at the same time, he seems a little scared by the idea. I begin to share my story with him in small chunks, carefully choosing the words so as not to overwhelm him. I see your eyes widen in amazement when I talk about light, unconditional love, and the feeling of oneness with the entire universe. "But Mom," he asks one day, his voice trembling with emotion, "if it was so wonderful there, why did you come back?" I look at my son, feeling my heart expand with love. "For you, Ethan," I respond softly. "For you and for everyone else who has yet to hear this message of love and acceptance." I see tears form in his eyes, and he hugs me tight. Right now, I feel like I'm starting to fulfill the purpose I came back for. As my condition improves, more people come to visit me, friends, co-workers, even some of my students. Everyone wants to know what happened, what it was like to die. I realize that many come with fear of death, fear of the unknown. I do my best to share my experience in a way that can bring comfort and hope. Death is not the end, I tell them. It's just a transition to a different state of being, a state of unconditional love and acceptance. I see how my words affect people in different ways. Some seem skeptical, others deeply moved. But everyone leaves my room a little different than when they entered, and that gives me hope. One night, alone in my room, I take out a notebook and start writing. The words flow out of me like a river, describing every detail of my experience. I realize that I need to share this story with the world, not to convince, but to inspire. As I write, I feel a growing certainty that this is an important part of my purpose. It's not just about telling a story, but about sharing a message of love, acceptance, and interconnection that has the power to transform lives. As the days pass, I feel stronger and stronger, not just physically, but spiritually. The experience I had was not just an isolated event, but the beginning of a new way of living. Every interaction, every moment, is now an opportunity to practice the unconditional love and acceptance I experienced in the spiritual realm. I know the road ahead will not be easy. There will be challenges, doubts, times when earthly reality will seem to obscure the truth I have experienced. But I also know that I carry within me a light that cannot be extinguished, a connection with the divine that will guide me every step of the way. As I prepare to leave the hospital and return to the world, I feel ready for this new phase of my journey. I look forward to seeing how this new understanding will shape my life and the lives of those around me. The months following my release from the hospital are a journey of rediscovery and transformation. Each day brings new opportunities to apply the lessons I learned during my near-death experience, and each interaction becomes a chance to share the unconditional love I experienced. My relationship with Ethan deepens in ways I never imagined possible. Our moments together are imbued with a new quality of presence and connection. I teach him about the importance of living with love and acceptance, not through words, but through actions. I see him flourish under this new dynamic, becoming more compassionate and understanding of his colleagues and the world around him. When I return to teaching, my students immediately notice the change in me. My approach to teaching becomes more patient, more loving. I see each student not just as a young person to be educated, but as a unique expression of divine love. This new perspective transforms my classroom into a space of acceptance and mutual growth. My experience also profoundly affects my spirituality. I no longer worry about judgments or religious dogmas. I know now that the essence of everything is love, and that all religions are simply different paths to that same universal truth. I attend different places of worship, churches, temples, mosques, not to adhere to a specific faith, but to celebrate the diversity of expressions of the divine. I begin offering talks at community groups, sharing my story with those who are willing to listen. I do not seek to convince anyone, but rather to offer a perspective that can bring comfort and hope. I see how my words touch people in profound ways, often leading them to reconsider their own beliefs about life, death, and the purpose of existence. The book I started writing in the hospital is finally published, titled Beyond the Light: My Journey Back to Life. It becomes an unexpected success. I receive letters from readers all over the world, sharing how my story helped them overcome their fear of death or find new meaning in their lives. But not everything is easy in this new life. There are days when earthly reality seems too heavy, when the memory of that heavenly peace makes the world seem harsh and cruel in comparison. In these moments, I'm reminded of Sarah's words, "You will never truly let go of this love. It is part of who you are, part of everything that is." I learn to find that peace within myself, even in the most challenging moments. I practice meditation daily, reconnecting with that sense of oneness I experienced. In moments of stress or conflict, I take a deep breath and remind myself that every person, every situation, is an expression of divine love, even when it doesn't seem like it. My physical health also improves in ways that doctors consider almost miraculous. The condition that almost killed me appears to have completely disappeared. Dr. Whitaker jokes that I was reborn, not only spiritually, but physically as well. As the years pass, I see the impact of my experience roll out in wider and wider waves. People who hear my story begin to share it with others, creating a continually expanding network of understanding and compassion. Today, as I write these words, I feel at peace. I know that my journey is still ongoing, that I still have a lot to learn and grow. But I also know that I'm on the right path, guided by that unconditional love that I experienced beyond life. I don't know what the future will bring. I don't know how many more years I will have on this earth. But I know that every moment is precious, every interaction an opportunity to share love. And I know, with a certainty that transcends all doubt, that when the time comes to leave again, I will be welcomed back into that realm of light and love. Until then, I continue my journey here on earth, grateful for each day, each breath, each chance to be a beacon of that divine love I discovered. And to everyone who reads my story, I leave this message: you are loved beyond measure. You have always been and always will be part of this universal love. Let this truth guide your life, and you will discover a purpose and peace that transcend all earthly limitations. This is my story, my journey beyond the light and back, and it's just the beginning. If you enjoyed this beautiful spiritual testimony, please leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to activate the notification bell to watch every new video and help us spread this message to a wider audience. See you next time.